Vlogging, you vlogging.
Yeah, I do too. Vlogception.
This is what it looks like after a day of being at the Ren Fair in 95-degree weather with 74% humidity. Hello and welcome to the Freakish Lemon, excuse me, phone. Thanks for letting me know that there's news and or weather. Anyway, hello and welcome to the Freakish Lemon video podcast. I am your host, the Freakish Lemon. I go by Adrian and I use masculine pronouns. Welcome any new viewers to this podcast. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to check this out, and welcome back any returning viewers. Thanks for watching. This is a crafty things type podcast coming to you from the Northwest Hills of Connecticut. Yes. Thought I had more to say there, but I didn't. Keep going. The show notes for this episode and all episodes are over at my website at freakishlemon.com. You can find me as the Freakish Lemon at all the fun places: Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy. If I'm there as Freakish Lemon. All the links to these places will be in the down bar below if you are watching here on YouTube, or somewhere around this video if you're watching this somewhere else. And I'm gonna try and remember to add this to my intro for real. If you like what you see and would like to get updates regarding these videos, please hit subscribe below. I don't remember which side it's on, but it's down there somewhere. Or at the end of the video there will be a link on the title card to hit subscribe. I forget that there are people who are still new to YouTube or have never used any of the other functions. So I'm gonna try to remember to mention the subscribing thing going forward. We all know how good I am at remembering things. Anyway, yes, this podcast may be a teensy bit rushed. I'm trying to fit this in before going to the Corgi meetup today. This way I can edit it later tonight when I get back, instead of being too tired to care about the podcast after playing with puppies for hours out in the hot, muggy, disgusting Connecticut August weather. It's been really gross here. Really gross. I think we're over 20 days now with temperatures in the high 80s and 90s Fahrenheit with over 65% humidity. It is disgusting. Disgusting. And I'm feeling Halloween in my bones. August cannot go by fast enough. Anyway, let's move on to the actual content of this podcast. First of all, I forgot to grab the yarn. Hang on one second. Messing up my show notes. Okay, first things first. I did a little giveaway last episode. I posed the question. What fiber festivals are you planning on going to? Which ones would you love to go to if money, travel, etc. was not an obstacle? And that was for this green skein of Neighborhood Fiber Company in their Rustic DK. It's a 100% superwash merino, 300 yards to 125 grams in the color Anacostia. And I just did the random number generator pull before starting filming this because kind of in a rush. And the winner is L Simon 1, who is Linda. I feel like you've won something before. Your username is very familiar to me. But she said that she went to Stitches Midwest, or at the time was going to be at Stitches Midwest, but now Stitches Midwest has happened. I don't remember if I saw you there. I'm very bad at remembering anything, so just yell at me if I did see you there. And she said she might be going to Rhinebeck. I hope you do. It's a great show. So, Linda, send me a message on Ravelry with your address, and I will send this out to you. If I don't hear from you in a week or so, I'll contact you. But I'll give you a chance to watch the episode. So I'm very excited to see what you will make with this. It's a great color. Okay. So there's that. That's done. That's gonna go. I've put a laundry basket under this table this time so I can just chuck everything into this laundry basket and it won't be all over the place. We'll see how this goes. But that's the sound you might be hearing after I finish talking about something. It might just be thudding into this laundry basket beneath the table here. So, life stuff. I did go to Stitches Midwest. It was a whole lot of fun. I did post a video kind of haul with like a vlog intro type thing before, so if you want to go check that out and see what was what for Stitches Midwest, go ahead and do that. There was also a vlog done by Allie and Abby of Get Lit and Knit, and an episode about Stitches Midwest, more or less, by Melissa from the Spicy Homemaker podcast. Me, Gabby, Melissa, Allie, and Abby, and a couple of other people kind of spent a huge chunk of Saturday all hanging out together, so we're kind of all over each other's podcast nonsense. But it was a lot of fun. Definitely a show I would consider going back to in the future. It's expensive to get out there, though, so it's not going to be anytime soon. I'm warning y'all now, just because planes and everything. But it was a great show, and I'd definitely be willing to go back if time and money allows. I also, last weekend, went to the New York Renaissance Fair, which I love the New York Renaissance Fair. I love the New York Renaissance Fair. But at this point in our lives, we have to pick a weekend in early August to go because my youngest brother is still in school. So later in August is a move-in weekend, and you can't guarantee he's going to have a free weekend anytime later in the year to go as our family New York Ren Fair trip. Because we've gone every year since I was 12. We've been going for a long time. So we picked one of the worst days in this huge stretch of disgusting humid heat wave. I have the temperature stats for that day. The temperatures were predicted to be in the mid-90s with 74% humidity for other people out there who don't use Fahrenheit. That's mid-90s is about 35 degrees Celsius. Feeling like a swamp. 74% humidity feels like if you had a hot shower running and you were just standing in the room and it wasn't well ventilated. That's what that feels like. And I'm not sure what the actual recorded temperatures for Tuxedo, New York was at the time, but Hartford was recorded, feels like 110 degrees Fahrenheit. That's, I don't know if other people do this, but they have the actual temperature, and what it feels like because of the humidity, it felt like 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 43.3 degrees Celsius. That's what it felt like in Hartford. I'm not sure what it felt like in Tuxedo, but it was deadly. And all of us at one point had the briefest thought, thinking, maybe I won't dress up. And then we immediately went, that's stupid. Of course we're gonna dress up. We are costume people. Any chance to wear a costume, we're gonna do it. So we were dressed up in layers. Gabby was wearing 4 layers, which I don't know how she did it, but I also know that our body temperature needs are very different. But she did sweat through that whole thing. I'm gonna... Sorry, Gabby, if you didn't want anybody to know that you sweat, but it was disgusting. It was a disgusting, disgusting day. But benefit of being at a Ren fair is literally everyone is also sweaty and disgusting. Because it's hot, you're usually in layers. A bunch of people are wearing leather. I had the leather boots up to my knees. So there was a lot of drinking cold and frozen beverages. I think I spent over $30 on beverages alone. I bought one thing to eat there early in the morning, and the rest of it was frozen lemonade and frozen orange juice and water. It was crazy. We also did the soak something, wear it around your neck. I had a bandana. Gabby and our friend Nikki, our knitting friend Nikki, who we met at one of the New York Knit Nerds meetups, they had shawls that they soaked in cold water and wore, and that trick worked out really nicely for both of them. So if you're in somewhere hot and you don't have access to air conditioning, try soaking a shawl in cold water and wearing it, because that thing takes forever to dry. So it was being evaporated off of them all the time for like half the day. It was impressive. And there was the mister at the Ren Fair. They have it's honestly just like a pipe with a hose that mists out, and we stood under that many, many times. And we left early. We did not stay for the final joust, which we had caught part of an earlier joust, so our guests who had never been to this fair before got to see part of a joust, but we could not just sit down out there. If you were moving, it wasn't the worst thing ever. I mean, it was bad, but you weren't gonna die. But if you stopped and sat down, it's like your whole body just wanted to shut down. So we left early. But it was a fun fair. It was fun. It was just deadly. And we cannot wait until my youngest brother graduates, because then we can start going in September instead of August. Maybe even October, depending on schedules. But yeah, that was that. And the only other life-ish stuff I have to talk about is this. I'm completely blaming Allie from Get Lit and Knit for this, because she posted a video not too long ago about her bullet journal that she is using to keep track of her projects. And it occurred to me about a week and a half ago that I had so many whips that I didn't even know what I had. Because somebody asked me what I was working on, and I couldn't name everything. I forgot 4 things. So, everywhere is having their back-to-school sales. So I got a notebook. Okay. Phone. Sorry, trying to coordinate something with somebody right now. Okay. Anyway, what? Yes, back to school sales. So I picked up a notebook and I've started a project bullet journal. And I've been doing it for longer than a week, so it might actually work. It's not a full bullet journal for like my life, the way people do bullet journals, but it's for projects, which I find really handy because then I have my regular to-do lists in my phone, but then I have somewhere dedicated where I can plan out what I'm going to work on, so that some of these things can actually get done maybe sometime in the future. What a concept. So, Allie, this is your fault. It's your fault. So if I become a crazy bullet journal person, I'm blaming you. Just so you know. Let's throw that in the laundry basket. But that's really it for life stuff. It's just been work, and we're in the part of the year where I get to do fun things. So hopefully this section will be not quite so boring in the future. I mean, this one wasn't that boring, but I did a whole video on Stitches Midwest, so the fun part of that whole weekend doesn't get to be in this video. I don't know what my hands are doing today. So let's move us on to the actual crafting. Knitting stuff is where I always start. And I have one FO this episode, and it is nothing you ever saw as a whip. And it's still damp from being washed. It's so humid, things are taking a while to dry. This is a cowl. It's being blown out. Yeah, the light is not doing this thing justice. Come back here. Is this closer to real life? This is closer to real life. Right back here. It smells good. Just sniff my knitting on camera like a weirdo. This is the this is a cowl pattern I improvised. I did about 10 rows of seed stitch and then stockinette and then 10 rows of seed stitch. This is out of my, I got fuzz on my face now, my hand spun, done with the Icelandic Dreams Eldfjall bats from Classy Squid Fiber Company. I alternated my two skeins, so you can't even tell that there's a difference in what those two skeins look like. I knit this on US size 4, 3.5 millimeter needles, and I did it on a 16-inch needle, so I could be lazy about my cast on. That's a trick for you, I guess. Because I cast on however many stitches would fit, you know, just like loosely, on a 16-inch needle. Measured my head, found out the circumference of my head, which I can't remember now. Figured out how many inches more I needed. Measured the needle for 4 inches, and then cast on that number more stitches. Very lazy. But a handy trick if that's, you know, if you're close to the circumference of your needle that you need, you know, might work out. Especially for something like this, which was basically a worsted weight yarn, where it wasn't that many stitches to have to measure. It's still damp. I'm gonna hang that on this laundry basket. That's the only thing I've finished. I finished that on the Stitches Midwest trip. I cast it on for that trip because I knew I was gonna need something that wasn't socks, that I could just go around and around and around and around. Because after a while, knitting socks, especially on size zeros, which is what most of my socks are on these days, that can really hurt my thumb joint after a while. I don't know why, but right here, it just hurts. So I opted for a worsted weight, something to kind of stretch my hands. works in progress, I have made considerable progress on my Redford sweater, which is a pattern by Julie Hoover. Oh, the poor dog is whining out there. Let me talk about this real quick, and then I'll go see what she needs. This is in Yarn Place Basic Fingering Wool in gray. I'm using US size 1, 2.25 millimeter Chiaogu red lace circulars, and that stitch marker, or progress keeper, is where I was last episode. I have done all of this, and I've started the casting off for the shoulder shaping, which is why I'm in the middle of a row, because of how the like sloping cast off technique works. You don't actually knit the last stitch before you turn the row. So it was either possibly lose a stitch or just be in the middle of a row. So I've done the first pair of 4-stitch bind-offs on the side. So it's starting to maybe look like something. Yay! Because ideally, I'd like to have it finished for Rhinebeck. Ideally. If at all possible. Which it might not be. I don't know. We'll see. Let me go see what the dog wants real quick. I'll be right back. Well, she's no longer at my door. She might just be mad that the door is closed. She gets that way. Other whips, I've done a little bit on my Cozy Memories blanket, but not enough to show you. I've done nothing on my worsted weight Cozy Memories blanket. My Dangling Conversation Shawl by Mindy Ross. It's in my Star Wars project bag that I made. Oops. Hang on. I feel like I do this every time. There we go. Caught a little bit of yarn in the zipper. It's an asymmetrical shawl using hand spun. I spun out of Bitsy Knits the Case of the Silent Six using US 2.75 millimeter needles, and I've done about an inch since the last episode. But I hadn't really worked on it since because of the trip and everything. And because it's been so humid, I haven't been able to work with this yarn without it sticking to me, because it's a very fuzzy single. I was able to work on it a little bit last night when it was cool out, which is really all the progress I made on it. Shove that back way down deep so it doesn't get caught in the zipper again. Socks are mostly what I've been knitting on these days. I have a hoe for my 3PO socks. That's in this Star Wars project bag that I got stitched by Jessa Lou, I believe is the name of the company. So here's the first sock. This is Mustache Yarn's Droid self-striping. This heel is just some Knit Pick Stroll. Knitting these on US 1, 2.0 millimeter DPNs. I love how it turned out. And I love that there are these big, thick stripes in this yarn, because that meant I was able to do a heel flap and gusset on this sock without it really affecting the size of the stripe that much. Like the extra stitches only caused like this stripe and this stripe to go down maybe 1 round for the white and maybe 2 for the gold, which is nice because heel flap and gussets with the double gussets are my favorite fitting sock right now. So I have that sock, and I have just started, or I've just finished the ribbing on the second sock, and I'm ready to start the stockinette. I think all these Star Wars self-striping are just going to be vanilla, just because I really just want to see the stripes. Stacy does amazing amazing self-striping yarn, and I love all the Star Wars things because everything is Star Wars. So yes. So hoe for those socks. I also have a hoe for my BB-8 socks, which are in this Maple Mousse Fibers The Force Awakens project bag. Again, this is Stacy's self-striping Star Wars yarn. This is the BB-8 yarn. This heel is Knit Pick Stroll fingering. This is a Fish Lips Kiss heel because these stripes are much smaller, so doing a heel flap and gusset would really change how the stripes looked during those gusset decreases. So I just Fish Lips Kiss heeled this one. And this is barely any ribbing. I think it's 2 rows of ribbing. But this is one of the projects I worked on a lot out at Stitches Midwest. Into the laundry basket. I also don't know if I've worked on these since last episode, so I figured I might as well show them to you. These are my movie socks right now. Toe up. I'm doing an afterthought heel, so here's my waist yarn. I'll probably buy Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator sock pattern to get her heel because I love Susan B. Anderson, and I think I've knit one pattern of hers once for a toy. So I need to get on that. This is Patton's Croy in the Bramble Stripes colorway. This is on US 1's 2.25 millimeter needles. Because Patton's Croy is so much thicker than other sock yarns, it's almost a sport weight. I can get away with 56 stitches on 1s instead of 64 on 0s. But that might not have been anything new for you to see. 'Cause I don't remember the last time I went to go see a movie and if I had filmed an episode at the time. But I mean, it's a toe-up vanilla sock. Which moves us on to crochet stuff. I have been doing a little bit of crocheting. I have one finished object. You saw last episode that I had finished the kind of white undyed boot toppers. Well, I've done the gray boot toppers as well. These get layered over the white ones when I wear my Renaissance Fair boots. I wore them to the Renaissance Fair. Thanks, phone. That notification sound, by the way, is R2-D2 making an alarmed sound. It's called Look in the sound files of wherever I downloaded it from. But anyway, I did the same thing with this as I did with the other one. This is some Plymouth homespun tweed. I'm not entirely sure what the name of the yarn is, but it's a commercial yarn. I just took a little bit off to do 3 rows of single crochet and then crocheted in my tailspun. And this is the yarn I was talking about last episode where I want to do a cloak mantle out of it. Like, just layers of these types of loops and then a cloak. Which my entire family thinks would be super awesome once I showed them how these actually worked. If I remember, I'll put a picture of my Ren Fair boots with the boot toppers on over them here. But these took maybe an hour to finish both of them because it was nothing. Especially doing the frilly bits, it takes very little, like, you don't have to do it well at all because the yarn hides everything. Like, I didn't weave in the ends on these. The ends are just hanging out here because it's fringy anyway. If you want to see an actual pattern for boot toppers, like these, but you want to make them for like winter boots where you actually want your legs to be warm and not just decorative. The Jazz Turtle Tailspun boot toppers are the pattern to use, basically. That's where I got the technique for the fringe. I have not worked on any of my other crochet projects except for a little bit of the Lazy Waves blanket, which is a pattern by Dedri Uis, using a USI 5.5mm hook. I put on a couple more waves, but not that much more. It's still a little blanket. And I started kind of a killing time project, I guess. Or just, I didn't want to work on anything, so I started something different. I have 3 yarns in my stash. This yarn, which is an acrylic, something that I picked up out of a clearance bin at my local yarn store. This, which is hand spun from a local farm that I got ages and ages ago before I really knew what I was doing. And this one, which is also a hand spun from a local farm that I got before I really knew what I was doing. And they've been in my stash for years, and I like them, but I didn't know what I was ever going to use them for, because none of these are soft yarns. They're all scratchy yarns. So what I'm doing with these 3 skeins of yarn is I am crocheting them into rectangles, and they will become either notions pouches or project bags. I think the 2 hand spun ones I'm going to try to felt. I'm going to crochet little swatches and felt them and see what that looks like. This acrylic is not going to do anything, so I don't have much of this left, so this is going to be probably like a pencil case shaped notions pouch. Hand sew a zipper in. So with the amount I have left, it'll probably be more like this shape. This way at least I'm doing something with it. I'm trying to get rid of all the old stuff in my stash, and that's in this linen project bag that I made out of scrap stuff. That brings us to fiber stuff, which of course brings us to Sith and Spin. God, I'm never gonna get tired of using that. Sith and Spin is a really casual spin-along that I'm hosting from now until October 1st-ish. The goal of it is to spin while reading, watching, listening to Star Wars stories that feature Sith in them, which is about 90% of Star Wars entertainment. Watch a Star Wars movie or a TV show, listen to an audiobook or a podcast, or read a Star Wars book, watch somebody play a Star Wars video game. Most of them have Sith in them. Just if you can spin while you do it, it qualifies. A thread is open over in the Freakish Lemon Ravelry group. Post a photo of what you're working on and let us know what Sith story you're partaking in. This is also a chatter thread, so share stories, share spinning, whatever you want. I'll sort out drawing later. You can post multiple times, just, make sure there's some progress in your photo if you're posting the same spinning project. I know that can get a little tough, but if you're, spinning on Turkish spindle, maybe one photo during the first turtle, one photo during the next turtle, that kind of thing. Finished objects are welcome. Yeah. There are prizes for this spin along. There are 2 custom-made bats, one based on Asajj Ventress from the Clone Wars, and one based on Darth Maul and his brother Savage Opress, also in Clone Wars, but we know Darth Maul from Phantom Menace. And some Sith-themed mini-bats are all in the running for prizes, so if you'd like to enter, please feel free. Also, use the hashtag #SithAndSpin on Instagram if you'd like, because I love that hashtag did not exist. And sometimes I just like to scroll through it and see if anybody else is participating. It's super fun. I've been doing a lot of spinning. And most of it has been Sith and Spin because everything is Star Wars. I'm drinking tea right now in a not Star Wars mug. I don't think I have a Star Wars mug. I don't think I do. Well, that's horrifying. And somebody fix that immediately. Christmas is coming up. That was ridiculous. Nobody has to get me anything for Christmas. Unless Gabby doesn't know what to get me. Get me a Star Wars mug. I'm working on some cinnamon tea. I might have gotten this from Melissa from the Spicy Homemaker. I got it in a swap. Almost said swamp there. No. I got it in a swap, not a swamp. And there was Sharpie on the plastic bag it was in, and the Sharpie rubbed off, so I don't even know what it is, but it's good, and I'm in a rush, so I have my tea with me this morning. So, FOs. The big FO, where is it? I finished spinning. It's still damp because nothing will dry. My Darth Venge bats. It smells really good. Mostly because, okay, so the black in this is New Zealand Perendale, which I don't know if all New Zealand Perendale is like this, or if it was just the way this fiber was prepped or dyed or processed, but it was crunchy. Like, it didn't feel that crunchy when you were just handling the bat that I bought, but once you started spinning it, it was crunchy. And when you plied it, it was crunchy. So I gave it a bath, and I used hair conditioner on it. It softened it up a bit, which is nice. It also smells like hair conditioner, so I don't remember what scent that hair conditioner was, but it was, you know, fruity, probably. But, oh my god, this is everything I wanted in my life. The red silk bits and the copper flash are perfect. Oh my god, I'm so thrilled. I can't wait to get a good, proper picture of it. Oh, that ply didn't work out so good. Whatever. I'm just so thrilled with it. It's so Darth Venge-y. And for anybody who hasn't been watching this podcast, Darth Venge is not a canon or extended universe character. Darth Venge is a fan fiction character created by her. I think it's her. It occurs to me that I don't know the gender of this person, but they are a fanfiction writer named Flamethrower on Archive of Our Own, and Dead Cat with a Flamethrower on Tumblr. Wrote a time travel alternate universe fanfic where old Ben Kenobi lived his whole life. He died, and then he woke up in his 16-year-old body and decided, F that noise, that life was terrible, let's fix it. But during the other one, during his life, at some point, he went after Sidious to try and see if he could get Anakin back. Did not work out so good, and Darth Venge was the result of that adventure. And it's just so Darth Venge-y. I think the copper flash is a little hard to see on screen, I think. But it's just kind of all throughout this skein, and it's perfect. And it makes me want to reread Re-Entry. I forgot to say the name of the fic. The fic is called... There's 2 series in this fic series. There's Re-Entry, and there's Re-Entry Journey of the Wills. Highly recommend it. And Darth Venge is a sassy, murderous bastard, and I love him. And this is perfect yarn. I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet. I think I need to find the right pattern, but it's fantastic, and I'm so pleased with it. And that's not going in the laundry basket because it's still damp. I've also finished, because spinning is my jam right now, but it's been too hot to go upstairs to the spinning wheel. I finished a bunch of minis. Lots of little minis. This is some leftover little mini bats from the packages of mini bats that will be going up in my shop eventually. This is the 212th Attack Battalion. So this is potentially what your bats may spin up to look like. And that is also still damp. This was a mini bat I got from Tanya. I want to say her name is Tanya. At a New York Knit Nerds meetup. This is a sample I got in addition to some fondant fiber fuzzlings. She just threw this little one in there. This is a little sample from Classy Squid Fiber Company. And this is actually 2 little samples from Classy Squid Fiber Company. I just happened to have 2 little samples that were the same fiber blend. It's a little tweedy one. Yes. In terms of spinning works in progress, I need to sneeze. Hang on. I was thinking about it. Nope. Okay. I'm working on this Polworth from Into the World. This is the Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey colorway, which is a Doctor Who colorway. This is half of the 4-ounce braid. The other half I have not started yet, but these are going to be chain plied into 2 skeins, so I can do socks with them, because I think they're going to be super cool socks. You can see a lot of it is this blue-black, and then the colors did get a little bit muted because of my particular not really good color management, but there are some like rainbow type. It's like red, yellow, and green, but you get some orange in there. So almost a rainbow in these smaller sections. And that's spun on my Ashford Kiwi 2. And then these were all spun on a drop spindle. I also have Exploding TARDIS Rolags from Classy Squid Fiber Company. I've got a couple of turtles now. I think 3 turtles. I brought this to Stitches Midwest too to work on because I couldn't not. Oh, I don't have one started. So I have 1, 2, 3 Rolags left. They kind of started falling apart once I shoved them in this bag, but this is what they look like. And I'm spinning these on my 3D printed turtle-made Turkish spindle. And these will be plied on my wheel because I'm going to do a chain ply so that the colors don't barber pole. And I'm still slowly working on my mystery fleece. And I'm also doing a lot of spindle spinning, as you can see back here. I went a little bit crazy on Thursday because I had this bag of fondant fiber fuzzlings and I wanted to start them all. And I had enough spindles to do it, so I did. I've got this on this drop spindle. Excuse me. There we go. I think this is a Snyder's spindle. I don't recall. This and this were all part of the same bat, but they decided they wanted to split, so that'll be some fun barber poling later on. And these are all going to be 2-ply, probably plied using an Andean ply bracelet because that's my preferred method of applying small amounts of fiber. There's this one. I forgot how much I don't like this spindle. This spindle is not a very even spindle. It wobbles a lot when you spin, but I'm gonna keep going with it and finish this purple. There's this one. This one's almost done. This is my favorite drop spindle that I have, except for my Turkish spindles. This is my favorite top roll drop spindle. It's just, I don't know, it's perfect for what I need it to do. And then I spun on my Turtle Made bottom whirl spindle for the first time. And I don't really like bottom whirl spindles because of how you have to. I don't mind spinning from a half hitch, but because the fiber isn't being blocked, you really have to get a good, like, secure wind on there to keep it from just falling off the spindle, at least in my experience. If anybody has any tips for bottom whirl spindling, please share them with me, because this is, I was really trying to finish this so I could just not use the spindle anymore. And then I've got this fiber on my Blackfoot spindle, which is not a drop spindle, but you spin sideways, long draw off this point. And I chose this to use for it because I really don't like these colors, so I don't mind if this turns out looking like junk. But we'll see how it goes. You can see this has a lot more of an inconsistent spin than the other ones, just because I'm still sorting out how to really use this spindle, but that's fine. Lots of spindles. Lots of spindling. But thankfully it started to cool down enough in the mornings and the evenings that I can get upstairs, because, oh my god, I was having wheel withdrawal. It was terrible. So, filming this episode before going to the Corgi meetup did not completely happen. I had to stop just after my last clip so that we could go, and Penny could play with all her friends, and it was a good time. And, yeah, so that was nice. I forget how nice that dog park is. It's the Fort Hale Dog Park in New Haven, Connecticut, and it's right on the water, so you get a nice breeze, and it's in the shade, which is why it was chosen for the August meetup. But yeah, so if this is a little jumpy, if I'm in the wrong place, if the lighting's a little weird, that's why, because it's about 4 hours later filming the rest of this, so we will quickly move on to sewing stuff. I've not worked on my Arabesh sampler, but I have worked a little bit on my Hawkeye quilt. It was cool enough yesterday that I spent a good chunk of the day up in the craft room, and I finished basting my squares, and I started quilting some of them. I finished completely finished the quilting on one of the arrow squares. You can see I did, it's easier to see on the back. I think I need to pick up some new quilting needles for my machine. But I quilted in the ditch. So each of these 4 seams. My show notes are turning off. Why are you turning off? Hello? Hello? My laptop shut down. That's magical. Okay. So, anyway, quilted in the ditch, the cross seams and up the diagonal seams. And then I did 2 lines in here, 2 lines in here, and then I just continued those lines up in the white. As you can see, I'm keeping purple on the back for all of them. I'm switching out purple in the purple and white in the white. And then I started, because I have all these stacked in the order they're going to be assembled. Here's a bullseye. You can see this one's still basted. I took the basting stitches out of the other one because I was done with all the quilting for it. And I just did 1 in each of the bullseyes, and then I will go back and do stippling in the white, so the squiggly quilting all over in the white. But I need a different foot on my machine for that. I need the embroidery foot, not the walking foot, so I'm going to do everything I need to quilting with the walking foot first, and then go back and do the stippling. And then I started in on the quilting for another arrow. You can see this one clearly on the back. You can see that they don't quite line up properly because I'm not the best quilter, but that's alright. You can see I just did the in the ditch with the purple, and then once I switch to the white, I'll go in the ditch up and then do all the diagonals in the white on this side. So progress on my Hawkeye quilt, which is super exciting because there are projects in the works in my brain that I'd like to get started on, quilting and sewing things. And it'd be nice to not have to reconfigure my machine every time I want to do something. Because it's a pain to put the walking foot on and off, I have to say. It's not the worst thing ever, but if you don't have to switch between a walking foot and a regular foot that often, it's for the best. So let's move us on to new stuff. There's a bit of a theme with some of my new stuff, but I'll start with the other things. First thing here is I have this skein of tonal blue yarn. It's wool. I'm not sure if it's breed specific. It doesn't have a tag. It's from Rayen Design Studios, who normally do silk dyeing. They have a silk dyeing stand at the New York Renaissance Fair. I think their banner is under Foxglove Silks. I'm not sure. But if you go to the New York Renaissance Fair, you'll know which one it is. It's in the back, around the corner from the first aid area, if you're going to be going to the New York Ren Fair. And a few years back, they did some yarn dyeing just as an experiment with some extra dye left over from dyeing silk. And now every year they have a few skeins in the back, just with leftover dyes to play with. So, and you can tell, this is, they do beautiful dyeing, and this is no offense to them in any way, but you can tell that they're not used to dyeing wool. They probably stir the yarn in the pot too much because it's just a teensy bit grabby to itself. It's not loose strands. It's like the very, very start of felting. It's all grabby. But it's not completely felted, so that's fine. I'm just probably going to wind this one up sooner rather than later, even if I'm not going to use it. Or maybe just rewind it so that it doesn't get complacent where it is. But it's a beautiful blue, and I like to buy from them because they do have beautiful dyes. I also got in a package from Mustache Yarns because everything is Star Wars. This is Obi-Wan, and this is Yoda. She's doing one more update with 4 colors, and I just love these. I love them. I mean, they're Star Wars and they're beautiful self-striping yarn, so... Yep. No, I can't wait. I just can't wait. Especially Obi-Wan. This is just like a fantastic color palette. Oh, it's so good. I also picked up a couple of Hiya Sharps. These are US 1 and US 0s, 2.25 and 2mm needles, on 40-inch cables. I will be doing 2 at a time socks for an upcoming project. And I realized that maybe the reason I don't like doing 2 at a time socks is the fact that I did a pair of 2 at a time socks on clover bamboo needles, which the needles are fine, but the cables are terrible for Magic Loop. So I'm going to try it with these and see how I like it. And if not, then I just have longer needles. It's not like I'm not going to use them. And because I was able to go up into the craft room for the first time in ages without melting, and many upcoming sewing projects, I bought my... Look at the reflection of my lights in this thing. Holy butts. Okay. Let's do that. This is a slotted ruler to help you cut straight lines with a rotary cutter. I'm terrible at cutting straight lines. It should be easy, but I'm really awful at it. And the things that I typically sew, which are project bags and quilts, straight lines are kind of required for those things. So I saw something like this on Chris Kelly's Periscope. Chris Kelly from U University. She has one of these that she uses to make bags for her shop, and she said it was a great investment because you just line it up and you go, and you don't have to worry about making sure you're holding a ruler straight as you're cutting, because for one thing, it's large. It's not gonna move that far without you. And like, you can hold it back here and cut over here, so it's nowhere near your hands, and it'll still be stable. And straight lines are kind of a must. So I'm very excited to start playing with this once I get some more quilting done on my Hawkeye quilt. Because there are upcoming sewing things in the works. And then here's the start of my theme. Usually around this time of year, I start to get this feeling in my bones that fall is upon us. Like, it's generally not. We still have high temperatures to mid to late September, but like, you just get that ache for fall. I mean, maybe it's because I hate summer so much, but I do get that. And this year, it has started earlier because of our crazy heat wave, and also it's skipped right over fall and gone straight to Halloween. So I can just feel Halloween in my bones. Everything I want is Halloween or Star Wars. It's Star Wars and Halloween. That's it. That's going on up here. So I bought some Halloween-y things. Like this Gale's Art sock blank. It's a double knitted sock blank, which is why I need the 2 at a time sock needles. And it is amazing. Look at that jack-o'-lantern face. And this is just perfect. I'd had it sitting in my cart for like 2 weeks and I couldn't stand it anymore, so I bought it. And I'm so excited. I might do these as toe up 2 at a time socks and do them as knee socks. Just so I can have all the Halloweeniness. That would be fantastic. I don't know. That might be a little crazy for me, but I'm so excited to turn this into socks. I have another yarn. That's a Halloween-y yarn. Sue and Chelsea from the Legacy Knits podcast recently started a yarn dyeing company endeavor, which is super exciting, and they had their first shop update last Saturday. I did not catch the shop update myself because I was out of range in Tuxedo, New York. I have no cell signal, and the update happened right when we were driving into Tuxedo, but a friend of mine at work had seen Sue and Chelsea's Instagram posts over my shoulder at lunch one day when they posted the one with the yarns at the bottom and the Sanderson sisters on top, and she's like, "That's amazing, I need to buy that. Where and when can I do that?" And I let her know, and so she camped out for the shop update, and I had texted her and said, "Could you maybe buy me one if you can? I mean, they might all go quick, but if you can, please buy me one." And she did. And I've already given her a project bag and some stitch markers and basically whatever she wanted out of my Etsy shop to match the monetary value. So she bought me Winnie Sanderson from Legacy Fiber Arts first update. It's in the steel toes base, which is 75/25 superwash merino nylon, 463 yards per 100 gram skein, fingering weight yarn, and it is the colorway of my soul. Like, this is everything I wanted. Everything I wanted. It's amazing. And I have my friend's skein too. I caked it up for her. She got Sarah Sanderson. I'll be giving that to her at work tomorrow. But in case you wanted to see what that colorway looked like all caked up, there it is. But oh my god, it's fantastic. It's so Halloween-y. Like, can I just live in these colors? Or, like, I'll just shrink myself down and just go live right, like, in this spot. That would be amazing. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I think I need to see Gabby's Halloween colors, because maybe there will be something that will go with this, either complementary or like contrasting or complementary, because that would be super awesome. But I'm so excited to play with this. And I was at Joann's the other day. I had realized that I hadn't been to Joann Fabrics in like a month and a half, which is crazy for me. I used to go every single Saturday, pretty much, to the point where people thought I worked there. So I stopped at Joann's on my way home from work the other day. And I bought some fabric. There's a theme to this fabric. You'll see it quite soon. First thing I bought, it's all terribly wrinkled and poorly folded because I washed it as soon as I got home. Just threw it right in the wash. Because most of this will be for project bags for myself, but I think whatever's left is going to end up being part of a small, like, lap quilt, like a decorative end of bed quilt type thing. Here's a fat quarter. Fantastic orange. Here's another fat quarter. Another fantastic orange. I actually really like this fat quarter. I didn't see like a bolt of this fabric or anything, but that looks really cool once I iron out all the fold lines. I might have forgotten these in the dryer and left them to sit there overnight, which is why they're so terribly wrinkled. I bought this fabric remnant. Yeah. And the rest of these I got from the red tag clearance section, which were also 50% off. So none of these are new fabrics for this year. They're last year's themed fabrics. Here's some bats. I got a yard of this. Or maybe this is the one that's a little more than a yard. One of these is a little more than a yard. I got this. I got this. I got this, which is slightly sparkly. It's not like horrendous sparkly, but it's got a little bit of, see, you can see a little bit. And I bought 2 yards and some change of this. This is probably going to be the interior fabric for most of these bags, and kind of the fabric that ties together a potential quilt. So yes, these are all clearance Halloween fabrics. I've noticed over the years, at least at my local Joann's, that most of the themed fabrics, once they go into clearance, leave pretty quickly except for Halloween. Like Christmas, gone. There's nothing left from Christmas from last year. There was like one Valentine's Day fabric that was left. There was one St. Patrick's Day fabric that was left. And I did find a cornucopia fabric for Thanksgiving, but there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus a Snoopy Halloween fabric left from last year's selection in the clearance bin in August. So, if you're looking for Halloween fabric, you can wait until that stuff is down to nothing. Most of those fabrics, I think one of them was clearance price $7 a yard. The other ones were $5 a yard, and plus the 50% off. So it's like $2.50 a yard for most of those fabrics. Yes, I will be making myself a whole bunch of probably quilted project bags. And not the fusible fleece interfacing. I'm talking quilted because I have lots of pieces of quilt batting that are good for like mug rugs, and I think I have like half of a full-size bed package of batting left. So that'll be good for bigger project bags to just cut out, quilt, probably just do some straight line quilting for some of these, or do the stippling quilting on some of these. We'll see what I feel like doing once I draw out my project bag templates and work on them, because I want to actually make some templates so I have an idea of what my project bags actually need. But oh my god, it's just all this pile of Halloween is just fantastic. I know it's August, but I just need it to be Halloween now, please. Not the day of. I need it to be October so I can start Halloweening everywhere. So good. Anyway. Oh my god, it feels nice to be buying fabric. It's been ages since I bought fabric. Because it's been ages since I could go upstairs and play with anything. Ugh. Too hot. And that leads us... Oh, I don't have the Etsy stuff anymore listed here, but the batlings that I showed last full episode, the 212th, the 501st, and the scabrous batling mini bat things. I forgot what I called them already. They will be up in the shop within the next week. I can't guarantee they'll be up by the time this airs, but they will be up within the next week. At the latest, next Monday, because I have that day off from work. So, so look for that if you're interested in getting some, like, mini bats to spin. Which will bring us on now to other stuff. Stuff I'm watching, not a heck of a lot. I've been trying to keep up with podcasts. Really, that's it. I do have more work to catch up on audio podcasts, but it's been mostly audiobooks and reading instead of watching things, so not too many watching things, but I do have some stuff lined up because people have been telling me I need to watch Stranger Things, and people have been telling me that I need to watch Penny Dreadful. And I know I should have been watching Penny Dreadful before, but I believe both are on Netflix, and I think I'm going to start those in September to lead up to Halloweening, since they're a little bit Halloweeny-ish. So yeah, haven't been really watching much. Stuff I'm reading, which I'm tracking on Goodreads if you'd like to follow me there, Freakish Lemon, as always. I am working on my Jedi Quest reread. So, since we last spoke, I have read number 5, The School of Fear. That cover, man. That cover. Number 6, The Shadow Trap. Let's not cover up everybody. You can see Anakin's looking a little bit more and more like Hayden Christensen as these covers go on. Number 7, The Moment of Truth, featuring angry Obi-Wan. Look how yelly he is. He's just yelling. Oh, these covers. And now I'm on number, I've already forgotten because I can't count, 8, The Changing of the Guard. Oh man, almost done. Finish 8, and I have 9 and 10, and it's on to the series that I haven't read, so that'll be exciting. I finished listening to Lords of the Sith by Paul S. Kemp, which is an audiobook narrated by Jonathan Davis, and I started listening to New Dawn by John Jackson Miller, which is an audiobook narrated by Mark Thompson. This is a bit of a departure for me because it's not a Sith-centric audiobook. I do have Darth Plagueis in the queue to listen to. I've already got it. I just haven't listened to it yet. But this New Dawn is a book about Kanan Jarrus and Hera from Rebels before they kind of get together and start working together and living together and being the adorable couple that they are. So that's an adventure. A bit of a break from the Sith, which means Sith and Spin might not actually involve very much Sith next episode, but it's a good listen. the voice Mark Thompson does for Hera is a little weird, but that's the only thing that's really thrown me off. Other than the fact that it's Mark Thompson and not Jonathan Davis. I've been listening to Jonathan Davis for every audiobook for the past 7 or 8 months now. So that's fun. And speaking of stuff I'm reading, I'm going to start... I don't know how long this will last. But I'm going to start because I keep talking about the Star Wars fanfiction that I'm reading, but it's very unstructured and I never know exactly what I'm going to end up saying about it. I'm going to start doing a fanfiction recommendation as part of the stuff I'm reading. I've previously recommended Re-Entry by Flamethrower. I've previously recommended Reprise by Elfpen. Both fantastic time travel Obi-Wan stories. This episode, I'm going to recommend the Lineage series by Ruth Balding on fanfiction.net, which is very strange to be coming out of my mouth because fanfiction.net is a place that I left a long time ago because it's very frustrating. A very frustrating site for me to go to now, especially since I've been on Archive of Our Own primarily for fanfic for ages. Because fanfiction.net has some weird tagging and search doesn't always work, and it's really hard to filter down your results, and it's such a huge website that it's impossible to find anything. And now I find it really hard to read because the pages are so wide that it doesn't really conform well to my tablet or my phone, so that's really fun. But the Lineage series is well worth putting up with those minor inconveniences. It is a retelling of... Well, it starts out as a retelling of the Jedi Apprentice books, starting with young Obi-Wan Kenobi becoming Qui-Gon's apprentice, without the drama of Obi-Wan thinking he's not good enough, at least at the beginning, and Qui-Gon being all, I will never take another apprentice because my apprentice turned to the dark side, and Yoda manipulating the two of them into a really harmful situation to make them be a team. Things still, of course, don't happen very nicely to Obi-Wan Kenobi because that's his lot in life is to suffer. But it's a healthier start in a personal relationship for the two of them, and it is a really riveting go through Obi-Wan's apprenticeship up until his knighting, I believe. It's a really good read. I will put a link to the first part of Lineage. To get to the other parts, you have to go to the author's page and find the other parts. They're all labeled, Lineage, Lineage 2, Lineage 3, so you should be able to find them really quickly if you're interested in reading about an alternate childhood for Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I really enjoyed a lot. There is a sequel called Legacy, and I think I've read the first chapter of Legacy, so yes. Ruth Balding's a really good Star Wars fanfiction writer. She has a lot of fanfic, many different kinds, third person, first person, character-centric, event-centric, alternate universes. There's some really good stuff in there, so you might as well check out the rest of her stuff if you're going to check out Lineage too. Fanfic. I just love it so much. Stuff I'm playing Pokemon Go, because Pokemon is fun. Haven't played terribly much since we got back from Stitches Midwest, just because it's been so hot that it's not even worth stopping the car at the park that I drive home every day to hit some Pokestops. It's just so hot that you just want to get home and go to bed. So it's been a little bit slow. But I caught a Growlithe at the dog park today. Appropriate. I also started playing Friday night as a reward to myself for getting through that really, really long week. Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. I had initially planned on buying Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is currently at $40 on Steam. I had forgotten that they had done a Clone Wars Lego game. And right now the Clone Wars Lego game is $20. I was much more inclined to spend $20 on a video game than $40. And I love Clone Wars, so there's no downside to any of that. So I started playing Lego Clone Wars, and I've gone through one of the story arcs. It's actually really cool the way they set up the Lego game. You play the Battle of Geonosis, and from there you have the options of following Count Dooku, following Asajj Ventress, or following another person who I can't remember. So I followed Asajj Ventress and went through all the connected stories for that pursuit. So I've freed Ryloth, huzzah, and it's really good. I spend so much time in one Lego game that I forget that they make a whole bunch more and they improve things. So from the last Star Wars Lego game I played, which was the Complete Saga, they have drastically improved the lightsaber skills. Those characters, they have their different lightsaber styles. They really do. And it's much more effective to block blaster bolts than it used to be. It's really, really good. Another mechanic that they've really improved going from the last one to this one, or even from Harry Potter to this one, is there's always, in these games, there's usually an ability to make things levitate. In Harry Potter, it's your magic. In Star Wars, your Jedi can use the Force. There's always something that makes... in Lord of the Rings, the wizards can levitate things. And there's always levels where bad guys will throw things at you. You need to catch them in midair with the Force or whatever magic and shove them back. Or you need to be going from defending yourself to using the Force to defending yourself. And usually there's a bit of a lag there. There's almost no lag in this game, switching from melee to magic to melee. It was seamless. Like, I'd kill 3 battle droids, catch a thing, throw it back at Asajj Ventress, kill 3 more battle droids, without missing a beat. It was fantastic. That is really, really improved gameplay, and I absolutely love it. It's just so much fun. And I love Lego games, because you can't lose them. I mean, you don't die. I mean, if your character gets killed, they fall apart, and then they come back together. Some of those puzzles are a little tough, but, I mean, ultimately, they're made for kids, mostly. So they're really, really fun, and I'm really, 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 really enjoying it. And I'm loving the different abilities they're giving the different clones. Because, of course, there's the clone that has explosives, there's the clone that has the rapid-fire weapon, but they have this new one where... or a new ability that I've never seen in any of the other Lego games, where your clone commanders have their walkie-talkies, and they can actually command other clones to go do things. So you can be near a clone who has a little antenna on his helmet, use the thing, and all the other clones with the antennas will come together, and if you need 5 clones to all shoot at something, you've got 5 clones who can all shoot at something. It's really cool. Yes, it's really cool. And there's a bunch of different modes in this that haven't been in other Lego games. I played a level where... It's from the episode where Anakin steers a Star Destroyer into a droid Federation, or a Federation control ship. It just, like, crashes it and then escapes out an escape pod. So that level in the game, you play... in a starfighter, shooting things in a starfighter, which mechanics for that have improved. but you also land on the Star Destroyer and have to do things inside the Star Destroyer. And it's really, really interesting. Usually for the Star Wars games, you're either in the air or you're not. Like, that's it. And in the original trilogy Star Wars games, when you were a ship, it was really hard to steer. I think there was only one level in the prequel trilogy from the complete saga where you were in a ship, but that was on rails. You didn't control where you went, just like where you were in the screen as you went, like as you progressed through the preset flight plan, and like you just shot different things doing this. This one you have complete directional control, and you can land and get out and jump back in, and it's really great, the different things they've managed to do with these games. I could talk about it for hours, and I've only played 10 of the 30 or more stories. I am so excited to just chew this game up. So excited. But anyway, I think that's all the things I had to talk about. I think. That's all my notes say. So we're gonna cross our fingers and hope for the best. So remember that you can find the show notes and links to everything over at my website at freakishlemon.com. Come and join the Ravelry group. If you go to the groups tab and search Freakish Lemon, you will find us. Follow me as Freakish Lemon at all the fun places if you like. Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Ravelry. I have the shop, freakishlemon.etsy.com. Links are in the down bar here on YouTube or somewhere around if you're watching this somewhere else. And please remember to subscribe here on YouTube if you want to get an update every time I post one of these videos. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's it. I have no idea how long this is going to be. It feels like it's short, but that could just be because I filmed less than half of it now. And I filmed the rest of it previously. So, we'll see what happens when I edit this together. I've covered all the things, I believe. That's gonna be it. So, goodbye.